I'm on drug blood. Why, hello, and welcome to issue 591 of Geek in the City Radio. I'm one of your hosts, Aaron Duran.
I'm one of your other hosts, Spinarita.
And I am your other host, Cable Hashitani.
And since it's basically the end of the month, it's time for our reoccurring guests / D&D co-hosts.
Hello, I'm Greg.
Ada.
Yay!
Hi, friends.
So good to be back. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's always good. And this intro officially took all the energy I have. So take it away, Bean.
Your head just...
Well, before we jump into building character, we have a couple other things. Of course, we're going to talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we thought we would kick off tonight's conversation by talking about ComicCon International happening later this year, or of our Lord 2021. Cable, I think you have the most details on that if you want to start.
So I went ahead and did a little digging before I just immediately did a hot take on this. But the essentially Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con already announced that they were not going to happen this summer. They then turned around, I think it was at the end of WonderCon Online, which they also own, that they announced that they were going to do a late fall convention. It was called Comic-Con Special Edition. And it is going to take place over Thanksgiving weekend.
Hooray!
So it'll be Black Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. As you might guess, I need to turn off my stereo. I'm sorry. As you might guess, the comic book community has had varying reactions. Most of them are in the realm of what the ever-loving fuck.
Right.
Because who does this? Why do this? Why, how are you going to get any of your regular guests to show up? People who work in Hollywood don't want to, they want to go spend Thanksgiving weekend with their families for, so that they can post it on Instagram.
And also, it's very likely this will be the year that people can actually spend the holiday with their family.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an even harder sell to be like, hey, this is the year you can see family members you still want to see, but you want to come to a Comic-Con? Do you want to be around sweaty
You
nerds
must
instead?
choose your family or your fandom.
Yes,
Yep.
exactly. I don't really understand. It's not a logical choice. I know that there are going to be plenty of people who actually would rather go to a convention than be around their family.
Mm-hmm.
But is that really going to be enough to have made it a profitable, worthwhile venture? I don't know. Especially with the pandemic context.
And are any of those people the people that are going to be exhibiting at the fest? Or at the convention?
No, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
I hadn't really considered the content creators.
Yeah.
I mean,
Go ahead.
Marvel doesn't really have a presence anymore. Neither does DC.
Because why bother?
Yeah, why bother? Well, I mean, Marvel's got its own thing because of Disney, and I think the DC Fandom event proved that they don't need to be at Comic-Con to have their fans show up. So why pay for it? Yeah, and I can't imagine the smaller companies, press, publishers are going to want to fork over that money, That's also the kind of time of year, if I remember correctly, most publishers start to lock down. That Thanksgiving week, not a lot gets done between then and literally a few days into the new year. It's just nothing. I don't remember, Cable, if you can think of any major book releases that come out around that time of year, because everybody thinks for Christmas. They're no, they'll push big releases, but they won't put them out around Christmas.
The production schedule just kind of goes to a simmer. It's like, the week before Christmas and the week of Christmas, usually there's 5 new titles that hit the shelves on Wednesday instead of
Yeah.
50.
And in the publishing order, if I remember correctly, major releases are timed for like basically late spring because they want to get people for summer reading, and then roughly back to school air time. Those are the two. That's when big titles are pushed. Those are when they have the release their big titles, or they're
I mean, even just thinking about the economy in general, like the days leading up to Thanksgiving are the nation's biggest travel days out of the entire year, more than Christmas even, because that is like the one of the most dedicated travel periods for going to see family. And so
sorry,
regardless of creators or fans, stars or ticket buyers, how much of that do you really think you can divert?
I don't know.
I can't get to the logic of this.
So
Especially because even all the big comic publishers and related places, things like tfa.com or Big Bad Robot or Big Bad Toy Store or whatever, they run online sales that weekend also. So it's not like they're going to want to be sending their merch to San Diego. The whole point of Black Friday of these places, they get to clear out shit that they couldn't sell at the conventions all throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aaron, you had a theory as to why they're doing this that you've mentioned off air. Do you want to mention it on air?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why they're doing it is, so last year they ran that virtual ComicCon, which went off pretty well.
Mhm.
That's a pretty huge endeavor, and it didn't have a whole lot of glitches, and there were tens of thousands of people that streamed various panels. And I think in a smart choice, they didn't charge for it. Like there was no premium content. In fact, I haven't heard of a con going online that has done that yet, because I think that's a really hard sell. Like, hey, we need you to pay to then sit here for 8 hours and listen to us promote our stuff. Even when there are good panels, that's a hard sell. But something tells me that, every convention company or whatever took a pretty hard hit in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
My gut tells me that Comic-Con International took a harder one. I don't know how far in advance they pay for the convention space in San Diego. I don't know. They're technically a nonprofit. I think they might be more underwater than people realize, and maybe this is a quick lifeline so they can have the big return in 2022. Because I know ReedPop's pushing, like ReedPop's doing shit too. Like every convention is going to drop from like September to December. Like they're all, I think, Rose City's selling tickets. Rose City's almost always Labor Day, I think. I don't know if Dragon Con's going to happen. I haven't heard yay or nay on that.
I haven't either.
But I think Emerald City got bumped to like something like October. Like all the big ones, like Heroes, Emerald City. Like I think they're all. It's a crowded con season, and that's the other thing. Like con season is hard enough on creators and publishers when conventions are the major ones are 3 weeks apart, give or take. These things are like every weekend. They're just stacking them like cordwood. I don't know.
I'm seeing that. One of the things that I saw on Twitter when this all went down, I forget who, there's a friend, acquaintance that works in the industry. So it like I like their opinion. It makes sense, but they think that there is the issue of Comic-Con is underwater financially, but they've picked this weekend particularly so if it fails, they can use that as leverage to file bankruptcy
or like bankruptcy protection.
Yeah, or any sort of like, oh well, this was the only thing that was available, so of course we projected that we were going to have low attendance, and we're not
Right.
expecting this.
And apparently it was the only weekend available at the convention center in like Q4 of 2021 was Thanksgiving weekend for obvious reasons.
Because who's going to go to a convention on Thanksgiving weekend? I think overall, I'm disappointed that conventions are trying to come back the way they were beforehand, because
Right.
anything that last year should have taught them is that the entire model is broken and has been for over a decade, and they needed to evolve, and they've decided not to. They're like, no, we want to do it this way. It's like, nope, absolutely not.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we could bring in other folks and do an entire show on that. I think that might be a cool show to do.
Perhaps we should.
I have a few people off the top of my head who would be good for that.
I can too. I do know one small advantage to conventions that I hear a lot of the people that I chat with online that are professional comic creators of various whatevers. And the main reason they miss conventions is it was the only time they got to see people that they never, that you never see, and writing comics by its nature is a pretty solitary, even though it's a team effort. You're very rarely are you in the same city as your other creators. And these big conventions, a lot of the time is a chance to see your friends and collaborators, often on someone else's dime, or at least, a shared cost. And that's, that kind of connection can't be discredited. That's very important.
That is 100% valid. I get that.
But by the same token, these creators, as much as they love their fans, I think deep down they'd rather have like let's have like a thing for the weekend where we get to meet fans. But I know that creators hate showing their product behind those tables. They're like, I know a few that would rather honestly have like limited meet and greets, and then they get to do their professional thing and the fans can go do their thing. And shows are hard, and they're getting harder. A lot of shows now expect creators and guests to show up at like 8 a.m. and then not fucking leave until like 9. That's ridiculous.
That's more than an 8-hour day.
Yeah.
You were asking.
And you do it like 2-3 days in a row or more.
Yes. And like you said earlier, it is every weekend. As much as you get to see people that you haven't seen in a while, the one major complaint everyone has is, I could be working.
Right.
I could be working on the book and now it's delayed.
Yeah. Or I've put in 11 hours on the floor because I want to be good. It's not the fans' fault that this convention has these hours. So I don't want to be a dick to the fan who maybe was at work and they can't get to the show until 6 o'clock. So they're so excited for that later close, and they get to my table and there's a sign that says back tomorrow.
Yep.
I've been that fan.
Yeah.
You don't take it personally, but it still sucks.
I think that comic conventions are a great microcosm of why capitalism will fail. And maybe it should have a different construction. My hot take on Twitter was solely that it needs to be you need to burn down the entire comic book convention model to the ground and rebuild it from the foundation up. And part of that foundation has to be universal basic income, universal health care, and a union for all comic book professionals.
Yes.
I'm becoming more and more of a proponent for universal income, or universal basic income, and universal health care from the standpoint of that's how you get your creators to flourish. Make it so they never have to work a day job.
Yeah.
And never have to worry about if they get sick.
I mean, that is good for everyone. Like, I think was it in San Francisco that there was a small community that was given $500 a month?
It was somewhere in California, yes.
And it was like a 3-year study or something. And
More people had jobs than like average population. More of them were in better health. Just happier in general. I've been so happy this past year, like as a human individual, and I tried to go back to work. And I mean, granted, there were extenuating circumstances, but it felt like too much. It's nice to know right now that I can just sort of bide my time until the right job for me comes along. It's not that I don't want to work. I'm just relieved not having the pressure of what the unemployment benefit system looks like, which is very demanding.
And I think this is the rallying cry to get comic book professionals together under is we need to become our own lobby and lobby for exactly that, because that's going to help change the industry. That's going to be the transformative thing.
Yeah, I know Neil Adams tried in the 70s, and it obviously didn't work.
Did he try putting together a union?
He did. And I think I don't know all the details. I know he did. Should look up more about how that worked out. It was an interesting story from what I remember, but memory's also kind of shot right now.
Fair. Neil Adams is an interesting fellow.
It's a
very broad and yes, broad way of putting it.
Yeah. He's definitely an East Coaster. Of the most classic sense.
Yeah.
Good working class, grumpy union man that happens to just draw really hairy chested Bruce Wayne. That's just his favorite thing.
Yep.
He likes his.
I'm sorry. I thought they all did that back east.
No, I mean, Neil Adams, like he likes his superhero men hairy.
Can confirm.
Yeah.
Very well.
Well, on that, do we want to jump into building character? We should have a show where we just talk about fixing shows.
We should build that one because this is a good important conversation, both like within the context of the comic book industry, but just our shitty capitalist society in general.
Yeah,
and I think trying to do it last year would have been too depressing for way too many people because they were just bummed out about it. It wasn't happening. Now that it's happening again, it's like, okay, we can do better.
Yes, I was for reasons that I still can't say, but I was very sad.
Yeah, let's wait until at least imminent death isn't like the top concern for everybody.
That's the bar.
That's a good bar. That's a good bar to set.
I'm sorry, that came off really, really glib, but I do mean that in like in a very serious way. Like, you know what? People are still dying. COVID cases are still rising, even though vaccinations are going faster than ever. It's all bad. It's all bad still, even though the horizon is there. So let's get a little closer to the horizon before we take on something that big.
I'm just worried that when I'm fully vaccinated, I'm gonna fucking turn into Kirk at the beginning as Undiscovered Country. Spock's all like they're dying. I'll be like, let them die.
No, Aaron.
No,
No.
I get the sentiment. I'm like, okay, fine. The science has developed a way to prevent people who actually care about themselves and each other to avoid this terrible illness. And then, if everyone else who wants to be a shithead science denier or whatever their reasons are can just fall off that proverbial cliff. But that's not how it's going to work. It's not. It's just they're going to keep infecting one another. It's going to mutate, and then we're going to get sick anyway, no matter how many people are vaccinated.
Yeah.
I did see a reassuring graph or a series of graphs. It was all 50 states that it was the percentage of people who didn't trust getting the vaccine at like 6 months ago. And they were all slipping downward to that percentage getting lower and lower. So it's like, oh, okay, more people are like, well, okay, except for 2 states. And I believe they were North Dakota and Wisconsin. So stay the hell out of those states.
Okay.
They were rising.
Oh, come on.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Really quick,
Peter.
before we dive into the Bard, I had to do a quick little research. This is apparently true. Neil Adams is also apparently a low-key Hollow Earth believer. And for some reason, that makes me like him more. That kind of tracks. Not a flat Earth, a Hollow Earther.
Hollow
Right.
Earth.
Totally,
Earther.
totally different brand of crazy.
The Earth
Mhm.
is round. and
Having listened to many of his
has a
interviews, that
cavity
strangely
inside.
tracks.
It's what people don't understand is that it has a nougat center.
Mhm, mhm.
I was picturing more of a cascaron type of situation.
Ooh.
So if anything hits us too hard, we'll just implode and glitter will go everywhere.
I'm also totally okay with that.
I'm still got fingers crossed for Land of the Lost
Dinosaurs.
scenario where
I'm with you,
there's-
Greg.
Yeah.
Dinosaurs and glitter and also nougat.
Glitter dinosaurs
That-
with
those
a with a
sound,
delicious nougat center.
those all
For
sound
this.
more exciting than my view of it just as a molten core. So good on you.
Reality is never as exciting as,
It could
as
be a
anything the
know.
three of us are gonna
molten
make
It
up.
sucks.
People, it could be a molten nougat.
Yeah, it could be. It could be.
Nougat is in the eye of the beholder.
Mm.
That's not where nougat belongs.
No.
That's
No.
why you always kill beholders for their tasty, tasty nougat
Absolutely.
eyes.
Nougat center, you pop that off, crack it open, share it amongst your party.
Is it?
No.
Is the
Yeah, but-
nougat in the eye of the beholder specifically?
I
Okay.
nougats.
But only at
Yeah.
center eye.
The
The other ones are
cheap
like nuts
eye.
and cordials and
Yeah, each of the eyes is a different flavor. It's kind of like one of those candy
C's candy
assortment.
boxes?
The
Yeah.
See's candy boxes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
You
Willy
gotta flip
Wonka's
them over
everlasting
upside down
beholder.
to see which eye
pistachio.
has what flavor.
Yeah, it's printed on the bottom of
Also, really quick, Cable's like staunch like scientific skepticism, which I enjoy, still leads me to the story idea that I still want to do with him one day as like a video series where Cable's house actually is haunted, but he refuses to believe it's haunted and gets into arguments with the ghost, convincing the ghost that he's just some kind of thing of science that hasn't been explained yet. And the ghost gets more and more annoyed that he can't get Cable to believe in him because he is an actual fucking ghost.
Yes, let's do this. I like this idea.
pretty good.
Yeah,
I
like
watched
a
that.
weird version of the Odd
I could
Couple.
read that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you turn anything into the Odd Couple, and I'm in.
All right, Bards.
Let's do it. Bards.
Ding.
Bards. These erudite entertainers utilize the esoteric energies of their instruments in their enchantments and evocations, either emboldening their allies in battle using their bardic inspiration, eviscerating their enemies with insults, or embellishing the exegesis at the inn after a battle. A bard embodies the invigorating energy that echoes eternally throughout untold epochs.
Excellent.
Ah,
Oh, bards. One of my very favorite classes, the Jack of all trades. Bards are an adept support class that are useful in basically any team. You can put a bard in any team and it works.
And it's better.
And it's better.
is it?
It is. So unlike many of the classes that we've talked about, the player has a whole lot more input into tailoring what their particular bard is good at. So I guess, yeah, we'll just take a look at the first level facts here. Hit die is a D8. So it's like a druid or a rogue. So while they can scrap, they probably shouldn't go to the front lines unless they pick up a subclass that is suited to it at third level. We'll get into that in a moment. They are proficient with light armor and a handful of martial weapons, as well as all the simple weapons and hand crossbows, my personal favorite. They are proficient with 3 musical instruments. You get to choose whatever they are. You can channel your magic through those instruments. So think about what you're bringing to a fight. Is it a drum? Is it a violin? Is it bagpipes? You know, how does that inform your casting of the spells? You can get some really good flavor in that. Let's see, your saving throw proficiencies are dexterity and charisma. So both your mind and your body are nimble and quick. Let's see, unlike other classes, which direct you to choose 2 to 4 skills off of the little pre-written lists that are specific to the class, at first level, a bard is able to choose any 3 skills that they'd like. Any of them. Pick 3. The bard begins with 2 cantrips, 4 known spells, and 2 spell slots off the bat, and learns an impressive and annoying amount of spells as they level up. So a warlock and a sorcerer, they cap out at 15 at a time. The bard has 22.
That's nuts.
Yeah. So your magic manifests from the heart and soul you pour into your performance of your music or your oration. So naturally, it's channeled through charisma. And your musical instruments are going to be considered your spellcasting focuses for your bard's spells, which is pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The next thing that you get at first level and kind of the core of the bardic class is bardic inspiration. As a bonus action on your turn, you can inspire others through your stirring words or music. Mechanically, this manifests as the character you target gaining a special D6 die. Within 10 minutes in game of gaining this inspiration, they can apply the D6 to one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw that they make. They can wait until after they roll the D20 to apply the additional D6, but they must decide before the DM states whether the roll was a success or failure, which is why I personally, as a DM, will say, "Oh, a 22, does that hit?" When I know well and good your AC is 18, that gives you the chance to be like, "Oh, I want to use my bardic inspiration," and maybe turn that, hit into a miss or what have you. They can a creature can't have more than one bardic inspiration on them at a time, and a bard can't give themselves bardic inspiration either. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Since this is a core feature and your spellcasting uses charisma, it's good to have that ability score at your highest. Oh, and as you grow in strength and level up, your bardic inspiration die increases from a D6 to a D8 to a D10, finally capping out at a D12 at level 15.
Nice.
So, yeah. Onto our second level. Second level gives you some great out-of-combat bonuses. The first is called Jack of All Trades, which allows you to add half of your proficiency bonus to any ability check you make that doesn't already include your proficiency bonus. That means that at level 2, you have at least a +1 in every skill, provided you don't have a negative modifier in any of them. So you're not bad at everything. You're not great, but not having a negative or a 0 is always awesome when you're rolling to do something in your skills. The second ability at level 2 is called Song of Rest. This is only applicable during a short rest, but by playing a soothing melody or oration, it allows anyone who can hear your performance to regain an extra D6 hit points during that short rest. And then as you reach certain levels, the amount increases in die size, going from a 6 to 8 to 10 to 12.
Yeah. And then 2 things occur for a bard at the 3rd level. So like a rogue, they gain expertise in 2 skill proficiencies, doubling their proficiency bonus. Pretty cool. Secondly, they get to choose their bard college.
Woo!
Yeah. And all the choices we have. So the player's handbook begins with 2 options, but with the release of Xanathar's Guide and Tasha's Cauldron, there are now 7 options. We're just going to focus on the player's handbook and Xanathar's today. So first up is the College of Lore.
Yeah. So College of Lore, I don't know why exactly, but this has been my favorite subclass of Bard. Actually, I do know why. It's because they have an ability called Cutting Words that allows you to literally insult a monster into missing with its attack. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So
Don't make me laugh.
It's really good.
I know, but it hurts to laugh right now.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
the College of Lore Bards are orators and they are storytellers. They seek out rare bits of knowledge from antiquity, and at level 3, they gain proficiency in 3 more skills of your choice. And they learn an ability to use their wit to, quote, distract, confuse, and otherwise sap the confidence and competence of others. This is cutting words. As a reaction, after a creature you see within range makes an attack roll, ability check, or damage roll, you can expend one of your own bardic inspirations and roll your own die to subtract the number you rolled from that creature's total. So be aware, though, the creature is immune to this effect if it can't hear you or if it's immune to being charmed. But being able to be like, oh, I'm going to roll a d6, and actually, you know, that damage roll is 5 less than what you just did, or that ability check is actually subtract 4 from what you just rolled. Do you save now, DM? Is pretty great. It's a pretty fun feeling to mess with the DM's rolls, I would imagine. Edelin certainly had a lot of fun. Anyhow.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that fun is like.
The bane of the eternal DM. At 6th level, you learn additional magical secrets. All bards gain this ability called Magical Secrets at level 10, but you get it at level 6 and level 10, so you get it twice. You are able to learn 2 spells of your choice from any class. They can be cantrips, and they count as bard spells for you. So if they're cantrips or leveled spells, they got to be the level that you can cast, but they don't count against the number of spells you know. And this just opens the floodgates for what your bard can do and like how you flavor your bard's, you know, magical abilities. Like, what if your bard learned the cleric cantrip Sacred Flame, right? How would a fight change if your bard had access to the lightning arrow spell? How mad would the ranger in that party be if they saw the bard using the lightning arrow spell at 6th level, knowing they didn't get access to it until the ranger was 9th level? So these are the questions you can ask yourself. The final ability for the...
They seem oddly specific questions there.
No comment.
The final ability for your College of Lore Bard is called Peerless Skill. At 14th level, this allows you to use your own bardic inspiration on a ability check roll. So while not as flashy as some other capstone abilities, this gives you a D10 and then 1 level higher, a D12, to add to any ability skill roll you make. So for those times when you really need to succeed, this will ensure that you do.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Let's see. The next college on the list is the College of Valor. These are daring skalds who are eager to witness great events firsthand so they might record them and ensure the memory of these events are, well, remembered. But don't be fooled. These bards don't want to just sit on the sidelines with, you know, with their magic. They call forth the echoes of greatness from heroes past and dive into the fray themselves. So first they gain proficiency with medium armor, shields, and then all martial weapons. Because, I mean, how are you going to sing about a battle if you weren't in it? And how are you going to survive that battle if you don't know how to fight? So
good points. Good points.
Yeah.
Combat inspiration is a big thing. In addition to the normal effects of bardic inspiration, your allies can also choose to apply that bardic inspiration die to their damage rolls that they make, or they can use their bardic inspiration as a reaction when an attack roll is made against them to increase their AC. So it just adds like another little layer of inspirational protection. At level 6, that bard gains extra attack. You attack twice whenever you take the attack action. So pow, pow. pretty good. At level 14, the Valor Bard gains battle magic. They weave their spell casting and their swordplay together. So when you use an action to cast a Bard spell, you get to make a weapon attack as like a bonus action with it. And then that would be the 14th one. So that's the capstone. And then the next stuff is the stuff that's from Xanathar's. So that's colleges of Glamour, Sword, and Whispers.
Yes, I'll take the Glamour, College of Glamour. Aaron, you're familiar with a particular bard that belongs to this college.
I am. I might have to deal with a bard that's from the College of Glamour.
The Glamour Bard uses methods
in like
that
the darkest setting D&D has ever had.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's not a weird mix or anything.
It was very specific phrasing, Aaron.
So the Glamour Bard uses methods that originated in the Feywild to delight and captivate others. They gain 2 abilities at 3rd level, their Mantle of Inspiration and their Enthralling Performance. Mantle of Inspiration uses up one of your bardic inspirations as a bonus action, and you may choose a number of creatures you can see within range up to your charisma modifier. Each of these creatures you choose gain 5 temp HP, can immediately use their reaction to move up to their speeds without provoking opportunity attacks. This is a great ability if enemies get the drop on your party, or if something happens in battle and you need to quickly reposition, like if a portcullis is lowering or a poisonous cloud is overtaking the terrain. The Enthralling Performance requires that you play music uninterrupted for 1 minute. So not really like a in-combat ability. But a number of humanoids equal to your charisma modifier who listened and saw your entire performance must succeed against a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you. While charmed, they idolize and speak glowingly of you. They hinder all who oppose you, but they will not choose violence unless they were already inclined to fight on your behalf. This charm lasts an entire hour, ending early if they take any damage, if you attack them, or if they witness you attacking or damaging any of their allies. Unlike many charm spells, if someone does succeed on their wisdom saving throw, they are unaware that you attempted to charm them. And then this ability returns after a short or long rest. So you can have a lot of interesting social encounters with that, getting through places that might be a little harder to get through as people are fawning over how great you are. Mantle of Majesty is your 6th level ability, and it allows you to cloak yourself in fey magic that makes others want to serve you. As a bonus action, you cast Command without expending a spell slot, and you take on an appearance of unearthly beauty for 1 minute or until the concentration ends. During this time, you can cast the Command spell as a bonus action on each of your turns without expending a spell slot. Any creature charmed by you automatically fails its saving throw against the command you cast using this feature. This ability only refreshes after a long rest. So in a fight, 1 minute is 10 rounds. Were you going to say something, Mita?
No.
All right.
I'm just going to ask what level this feature kicks in at, so I know when to keep an eye out for that sucker.
Oh, he's got it. It was level 6.
Yeah.
Oh.
I've been really enjoying you making these faces going, oh, Peter.
So some things to note about this one. In a fight, 1 minute's 10 rounds. So that's a really long time. But out of combat, a minute is like nothing, right? So remember the limits of the command spell. It can only be 1 word. The target must understand what you're saying, and you can't command the target to do something that's directly harmful to it. Also remember that if cast in combat, the effect takes place on the creature's next turn. So if it hasn't used a reaction yet, it might continue to be a danger. And then finally, the 14th level, the capstone ability is called Unbreakable Majesty. As your appearance permanently gains an otherworldly aspect that makes you look more lovely and fierce. As a bonus action, you emanate a magically majestic presence for 1 minute or until you're incapacitated. For that duration, any creature trying to attack you for the first time on its turn must make a charisma saving throw against you. If they fail, then they can't attack you on that turn and must choose a new target or the attack is wasted. On a successful save, they can attack, but any saving throw they make is made with disadvantage against your spells on your next turn, and you regain this ability on a short or long rest. So that is the College of Glamour.
As long as I keep giving him clothes that can't ever get soiled or stained, he's going to forget about all his abilities and just prance around looking fantastic. So that's my plan.
I think you've got that keyed in exactly.
I think he might get gloves next, so he can just do hand stuff with gloves that can't get dirty.
Oh god!
Really,
Really, the Vince Noir of our group
that do like one particular part of prestidigitation, like not the whole thing, but just like one.
Yeah, I feel like by the time the whole campaign's done, he's gonna look like a half elven version of like Ravenloft Ric Flair.
Or David Bowie.
Try living with it.
I mean, Ric Flair is just a muscled David Bowie, really.
You're true.
Oh man. Okay, what's the next college? College of Swords. So this is for the bard who uses their mastery over blades to entertain. They're sword swallowers, knife throwing marksmen, jugglers, that sort of thing. But they're incredibly deft with the weapons that they wield. So they're also going to be gaining added proficiencies. Like the Valor Bard, they're able to use the medium armor, and a scimitar is now on the table for them. Furthermore, if you are proficient with simple or martial weapons, you can use them as your spell casting focus. So that's pretty neat. You can like cast your spells through your rapier or something. You gain a fighting style for your specialty, either dueling, which grants you +2 bonus to damage when you wield a weapon in only one hand, or 2-weapon fighting, which allows you added damage with a second attack. At 3rd level, you gain Blade Flourish, so whenever you take an attack action on your turn, your speed increases 10 feet, and if a weapon attack that you make hits the creature, you can use one of the 3 different Blade Flourish options. And then each option requires expending one of your Bardic Inspiration die. You roll that die and add that number to the attack's damage. And then each different flourish has a secondary effect. So there's Defensive Flourish. So that number that you roll on the die for extra damage is also added to your AC until the start of your next turn. Slashing Flourish. So the damage rolled can also apply to any other creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of you. And then Mobile Flourish, which so you can push the target up to 5 feet away from you, plus that number that you rolled, that number of feet in addition to that 5 feet. Let's see here. Then you can immediately use your reaction to move up to your walking speed to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of that target. So that's really good for like directing your enemies and getting them out of your face and putting them where you want them.
Yeah.
You also get an extra attack at 6th level. And then at 14th, you get the Master's Flourish. So whenever you use the Bladed Flourish that we just talked about, you roll a d6 and you use that instead of expending your Bardic Inspiration die, which can get helpful there towards
yeah,
the end.
So yeah, by that time your Bardic Inspiration die is a d10, but you can forego using it and use the smaller d6 instead.
Yeah. and it doesn't, count against your pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So very, very mobile, very versatile, and very sword oriented.
Yeah, it's very swashbucklery, very it's sort of like the Battle Master Light.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last one for today is the College of Whispers. This college This college has a decidedly more sinister feel, and the description suggests that many bards hate the College of Whispers because of how they tarnish the reputations of all bards when they take advantage of the hospitality typically shown to a bard by strangers. These bards employ psychic powers and are known for uncovering secrets and using them against others. So your ability that you get at 3rd level is called Psychic Blades. When you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can expend one of your bardic inspiration die to deal an extra 2d6 psychic damage to the target, which is a pretty big pop of psychic damage. That damage increases as you increase in power. Also at 3rd level, you gain Words of Terror. This is like the inverse of the Glamour Bard's performance. If you speak with one humanoid alone for a minute, you can attempt to seed paranoia in their mind. The target must make a wisdom saving throw or be frightened of you or another creature of your choice. The target is frightened in this way for 1 hour until it's attacked or damaged, or until it witnesses its allies being attacked or damaged. The target is unaware you attempted to cast a spell on it if it succeeds its saving throw. At 6th level, you gain the ability called Mantle of Whispers. When a humanoid dies within 30 feet of you, you can magically capture its shadow using your reaction and retain that shadow until you use it or you finish a long rest. It goes away until you, if you don't use it, when you finish a long rest, it disappears. As an action, you can use this shadow to magically transform it into a disguise that appears upon you. The shadow disappears, and now you look like the deceased, but healthy and alive. This disguise lasts for an hour, or if you end it with a bonus action.
That is so
it's really cool. And while you're in, it gets better. While you're in the disguise, you gain access to all the information that humanoid would freely share with a casual acquaintance. Such information includes general details on its background and personal life, but it doesn't include secrets. The information is enough that you can pass yourself off as the person by drawing on these memories. Another creature can see through this disguise by succeeding on a wisdom insight check contested by your charisma deception check, but you get a +5 bonus to your check when making this contested roll. Finally, once you capture a shadow with this feature, you can't capture another one until you finish a short or long rest. So no collecting and hoarding shadows.
Man.
Sorry, Bean. At level 14, you gain the ability Shadow Lore, where you weave dark magic into your words and tap into a creature's deepest fears. As an action, you magically whisper a phrase that only one creature of your choice within 30 feet can hear. The target must make a wisdom saving throw against the spell save DC. The creature automatically succeeds if it doesn't share a language with you or if it can't hear you. On a successful saving throw, your whisper sounds like unintelligible mumbling and has no effect. But if the target fails its saving throw, it is charmed by you for the next 8 hours or until you or your allies attack or damage it. It interprets the whispers as a description of its most mortifying secret. While you actually gain no knowledge of this secret, your target is absolutely convinced you know it. While charmed in this way, the creature obeys your commands for fear that you will reveal its secret. It won't risk its life for you or fight for you unless it was already inclined to do so. And it grants you favors and gifts it would offer a close friend or, someone who's blackmailing them. When the effect ends, the creature has no understanding of why it held you in such fear. And once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest.
I would like to try this one.
That one sounds
Of
cool.
course you would.
I have to say that I have had zero interest in ever playing a bard, largely because I've been intimidated by all of the things that it can do and the personality that you have to bring to the table to play it. Until now.
I mean,
I didn't
I
wanna-
really love playing bards, and I don't have any musical inclination really. I had a bard that I recited dirty limericks in order to cast spells and stuff, and
Yeah.
so you don't have to be that like. You don't have to be.
But I would love to see, yeah. I would love to see Cable's College of Whispers Bard. I would love to see what you do at the table too.
I think you've already seen him.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah,
His
I didn't
name
want to
is-
comment on the faces Cable was making during that description of that bard. There was a lot of like, excellent.
I think that particular bard's name is Manuel,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
because the
Yeah.
College of Whispers bard is a haunt monster.
I think you're right. That's
Mhm.
horrifying, and I may never look at Manuel the same way.
Good.
Because there's that fucking laugh.
That one.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is our basics of bartery. As you mentioned before, there are other bardic colleges that were recently made available in Tasha's Cauldron. So if you're interested in building a bard, but these ones that we just went over just aren't, strumming your lute, if you know what I mean, you can take a. Yeah, I don't regret that. Deal with it. You can take a look at the other ones in Tasha's and see if they're more to your taste. But I think meanwhile, we already got Manuel's situated. What other pop culture characters can we put in the bard category? What can we build these bard characters off of?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We have a couple. We have a couple ideas here, and I'd love to hear what your all your thoughts are. But for College of Lore, a couple that we were talking about were, if you've ever read the King Killer Chronicles, Kvoth is very much a College of Lore bard, as well as Dandelion from Watership Down.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mhm.
I would say Webby from particularly the new DuckTales series is absolutely a College of Lore bard.
Agreed.
The lore being strictly McDuck, but still.
but still. And then
I'm McDuck.
and then Yasker from The Witcher.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just saw a really good one. Chaucer from A Knight's Tale.
Oh, we actually
Yeah.
have him on a different college.
Oh, okay.
We were talking about him at College of Valor.
Because of his because he's so close to the knight, he's right up in there. But either one would work.
I feel like he would suit really either of those.
Yeah, I mean Chaucer's definitely a bard.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, I'm really excited about College of Glamour because let's be honest, it's like the most obnoxious bard. Sorry, Christian. I love
Yeah.
you.
So the first name that came to my mind was, well, Zoolander, obviously.
Zoolander's 100% College of
Glamour bard.
Oh,
Being able
yeah.
to stop an attack by just giving a magnum, blue steel, what have you.
I can't turn left.
Yeah, that's a good flaw. That's a good Told you.
I don't-
I'm not ambidextrous.
My cat
That's
is
I'm not
Tigre.
an
It's more
amputee.
for catalogs.
I think I was too stupid to know what you googly was. God,
Oh,
I've
the
watched
you
that
googly
years.
line gets me
Oh.
every time.
Oh my gosh.
They
Yeah.
were like brothers to me, but not like real brothers, but like the way black people say it, which I think is more powerful. That movie.
I forgot all about that line.
Yeah.
Oh
I blocked it out.
no. Oh man.
It
I
just
think most
reminds you
people
that
block it.
it's just a reminder that anyone could die in a freak gasoline fight while sipping frappuccinos.
Ugh.
Ugh.
I don't know why I can see Lando from the College of Glamour.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
See that. He's very much a like heavy charisma, heavy,
Mhm.
watch the cape, don't watch, what we're
That's
doing
right.
here.
And he can stop a fight with "Hello there."
Yeah.
That's right, he can. So I think that Ramona Flowers from Scott Pilgrim versus the World would be
Oh, yeah.
College of Glamour. She's not super obnoxious, but she is very well. There's got to be something about her because there are like 7-ish people who want to just spend the rest of their lives fighting anybody who talks to her
To the death.
to the death
Mhm.
or to the coin explodey. It gets weird, but like she seems really okay with this. So I feel like there's something that happens with her.
I had an interesting thought the other day. I was like, I think Ramona Flowers is just the younger version of the female lead in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I mean, they are both definitely that manic pixie dream girl shenanigan.
Mhm.
No, they're the opposite of manic pixie dream girl. They're like too cool for school.
That's
This
part
if
of the
this is
manic
how
pixie
you want to
dream
like.
thing, though.
No, but like when I think of the manic pixie dream girl, I think of like very like whimsical, just sort of like go with the flow and let's go on an adventure, and like I'm much more like bubbly and like intentionally charming or like unintentionally charming, but in this like really cutesy way. And
part of
those
it.
two characters I feel are like the opposite of that. They're like surly and disinterested, and yet they draw people in, but they don't really want to be, I think.
Okay.
So that's actually a big part of the manic pixie dream girl. It is two sides of that same coin of they're both like, oh, I'm super edgy and I don't want to be in a relationship like this because I'm not like other girls. And they end up, I mean, one of the key things is they end up affecting the male protagonist's life for the better without furthering their own goals in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, okay, then yes. But by that definition, Ramona Flowers definitely falls into that category.
I think
And-
that that's best exemplified by Holly Golightly, because she's both of those things. Every day
Yeah.
is an adventure. I'm cutesy. I'm fun. I'm whimsical. Also, I have no attachments. I'm disinterested.
Well, I
And
think the guy who
she's
termed
the epitome of that.
the guy who termed that coin actually meant her as like his primary example.
Coined that term.
Yes.
One, two.
I
That's the
said
one.
that backwards today.
I like it better. I
Yeah.
like it better.
I
Term that
also had
coin. Yeah.
one more listed for College of Glamour, and it's really weird because
It's real deep in the weeds, but I watched the video and it's absolutely 100% glamour. Go ahead.
okay, so I have seen maybe 3 episodes total of Get Smart, and one of these episodes had a character called Simon the Likeable, who was with the bad guy group Chaos, and his whole shtick is that he had such a just salt of the earth face that everybody automatically just loved him and would bend over backwards for him. And like, I think he ends up getting caught or something, and the jury's like, no, he's fine. We love
And
him.
he literally will look at you with a twinkle in his eye.
Yeah, they superimpose these little freaky star
little
things.
twinkle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he is absolutely College of Glamour.
Mhm.
That one
All
guy,
right.
he's like in one short little arc. It's not a main character, but he's stuck in my brain, and I pulled him out for this.
Yeah.
Lives there rent free.
Yeah.
Simon the Likeable has lived in my head rent free since like Nick at Night.
I would think from the sounds of it, Uncle Arthur from Bewitched would also fall into this college.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
remember that character.
It would take like 30 seconds of seeing him on screen, and you go, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, he's just very like happy-go-lucky. Everything just falls into place for him. It's very yeah.
For College of Valor, we have a few characters from pop culture that we thought were especially relevant. Gabrielle from Xena, Warrior Princess. I mean, she calls herself a bard, and she fights right alongside it. So, I mean, she is a bard. She introduced herself as one, which is cool. We mentioned Chaucer already. And then also Sancho Panza from Don Quixote. Could make a good College of Valor.
I would love to create a College of Valor build off of Sancho Panza.
Poor Sancho Panza.
That'd be funny.
I feel like it would require some paladin or something in the group to just like build this duo with, but it could either be really fun or I could hate it. And those are the only two options.
And just really quick, going back to the College of Glamour, just really fast, Carol. Not just that Uncle Arthur is from the College of Glamour, it's basically Paul Lynde is the College of Glamour.
Yeah.
Right.
Was there ever a character Paul Lynde played when he wouldn't have been a College of Glamour?
I don't know that Paul Lynde was ever playing any particular character. I think he was just Paul
He was
Lynde
always
all
Paul
the time.
He was Paul Lynde.
Yeah.
Fun fact, he was never actually hired officially for any of those things. He just showed up and they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Come on in.
Well, he is the secret square.
Yes.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I feel like Frank Gorshin is also in that same college.
Yeah. All very
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of Charles Nelson Riley.
A little?
Oh my God, there's your Bard party right there. Throw in some Phyllis Diller.
My God, I want to build a Phyllis Diller Bard. I love Bard so much. I could do it all day long. Always.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
You just
You
had
want to
them all.
take the next two? You want to take the next two on the College of Valor?
Oh, yeah. So I chose Ford Prefect from Hitchhiker's Guide. He's Bard. I think that he would be a Valor. He gets in the
Thick of it.
He gets in the shit, but you know, not as much as like College of Swords.
Yeah.
And then Samwise Gamgee. I feel like Sam's got sweet bard energy, and is of course the most valiant hobbit ever. And
he does keep the spirits up too.
He keeps the spirits up, and he writes that book. He writes the book at the end. He carries on the story.
It's true.
Yeah. But he's like keeps Frodo going with like, hey, you know, remember all those stories that we grew up on. Like, you know, he continues to tell those stories and remind him that, remind
him of home.
Like,
remind him of what's worth fighting for.
So I think he's wholesome College of Valor.
That's why he has the finest salt in all of the Shire.
I saw a list where it didn't like divvy them up into colleges. It was just like pop culture bards. But I saw a one that I think fits here in College of Valor, and it's the lead from El Mariachi.
Oh yeah.
Elle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elle would absolutely be either College of Valor or College of Swords. I mean, he didn't use swords because he used guns, but
guns aren't a thing.
But the guns with like the musical instruments, kind of a crossover thing. Yeah, I was thinking that.
Oh, totally,
like-
100%. That's a good one.
With the fighting style in that, I feel like he would land more College of Swords.
Yeah, it
because
was
there's that
very.
whole-
He's
Mhm.
doing all sorts of like crazy gun moves and like firing behind his back and stuff. So
Yeah, he got them tricks.
I agree.
more tricksy.
Lots
I
of
like
lots of gun akimbo
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, let's talk more about College of Swords then.
Pew pew. Oh.
This one, so L would be great for that, or Valor. I thought first name that came to my mind with College of Swords, he's not really like a super performer, but Jack Burton. Jack Burton is a College of Swords bard who thinks he's the main character and is a fighter, but he's a bard. I love that movie so much.
He sure does tell a tale, doesn't he?
He certainly does.
Yeah.
You leave Jack Burton alone.
We owe him a great debt.
Right. That's right. So Jack Burton, Deadpool. We thought Deadpool would be a good College of Swords bard. A good
Could
template.
definitely build a really fun bard off of Deadpool.
Mhm.
Could see that. Yeah.
I also think Inigo Montoya from Princess Bride would be a College of Swords bard. Like there's a storyteller element to him that, so he's not like the classic bard, like, Gabrielle or Chaucer, where they're literally like, hi, I'm a bard. But he's got this showman storyteller feel to him.
He's driven by his own story.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
And then his proficiency with the sword. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah,
that could be a very fun character template to build a bard off of.
Yeah.
The last one was College of Whispers. I was having trouble figuring out like, who would be a good College of Whispers bard in pop culture, but Ida like came at it besides Cable, and came out with some amazing options. So go for it, Ida.
All right. So first, in like the serious thing, we've got Arya Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
There, she is absolutely College of Whispers. I mean, she straight up steals faces, but also just everything about her her sword fighting technique. When she was taking those classes, it was they're called dance classes, and it's very much a finesse and a very much lie your way into where you need to go to do what you need to do kind of thing. And then I went off the rails a little bit because so I've been watching a lot of Arrested Development, rest in peace Jessica Walter. Jean Parmesan would be a ridiculous bard.
Especially if you had like a wizard in the party or some other character that would always squeal out their name whenever they unmask themselves.
That'd be awesome. I saw someone mention Varys from Game of Thrones also.
Oh
Yeah,
Mhm.
Varys is good.
The
Yeah.
Master of Whispers, you mean?
Yes.
Or was it
That's the one.
Master of Secrets?
Master of Secrets
Master of
What?
Secrets
with his sparrows.
His
What's
little
a
bird.
secret but a whisper anyway.
Yeah.
I tried to be poetic, but that fell flat. I also thought Count Olaf from A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a little bit silly because the orphans always pick him out right away, but no one else does.
No one else seems to. Yeah, those orphans are clearly immune to being charmed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the last one would be Artemis Gordon, the good Artemis Gordon from Wild Wild West.
Oh my God.
All about putting
Yeah.
on different masks.
Yeah. Okay.
The goofy end of College of Whispers. If you really want to just take the teeth out of it, play a character based off of Artemis Gordon. But there we have it. You guys have any other thoughts?
There's Zartan.
Zartan.
Yeah,
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
definitely.
Yeah. Why didn't I think of that? Dang.
Zartan and Chuckles, the GI Joe infiltrator that got Cobra
Right.
Commander assassinated.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That's a
That's
very
really good. That's really good.
yeah.
Awesome.
Well, there it is. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you so much, y'all.
Bards.
That is the original 12 classes in the player's handbook.
We did it.
We've done it. There it is. We can go on because now there is a 13th class, the Artificer, that we haven't
that's
talked
right.
about yet, and we could also go into some of the additional subclasses that we didn't have access to when we started this endeavor because the book hadn't been out yet. We could take a couple subclasses from some of our past classes and see how they've progressed.
That's a good
What
idea.
Greg's trying to say is,
Sounds great.
please let us come back now that we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not done. There's more.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
There's always character to build.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
One day we will run out, and then we'll just have to think up a different excuse to have you guys around.
Well, by then there'll be D&D 6th edition, and we'll have to do it all over again.
Right.
There you go.
Or we just move into like Call of Cthulhu or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we could go into other games. I'm going to be picking up like Iron Kingdoms, for example.
That's
Oh.
true. Or the Coyote and Crow,
Yes.
which has 45 hours to go.
I was
Okay.
going to say we should
Uh,
mention that.
They are about $150,000 short of $1 million. If they hit that million, they are going to have an adventure written by they did say it on an update, so I can say it. It's public, by Rebecca Roanhorse, who is an amazing. She's an Indigenous author. I met her a couple years ago at Worldcon. She first off, pick up her books. They are fucking fantastic. And her writing an adventure sounds like a blast.
Ooh.
Also, I totally called it.
I was gonna say that's who you thought it was, isn't it?
And
Yeah,
confirmed. Yep, he did say that off air. But yes, confirmed.
Oh, did he? I don't remember him
No,
confirming it off there with
you.
Oh
you-
yeah, and he was like,
Connor
no,
didn't.
not, yeah, he's like not saying anything. I was like,
you-
I know
but
who
you
it is.
didn't want to guess on air. You
Oh, you're right.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
Correct.
because
In
you
case he had a bad poker face,
hmm
which he totally did.
But we all talked about it after the show.
So yeah, also check out her work. It's fantastic.
Yeah. I've read Trail of Lightning. I
Yeah,
loved
that's
it.
the first one I
Yeah.
read. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I know that name. Hold on, let me Google it because I don't
Yeah.
remember things
Yeah,
well.
she's awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what the internet's
I want
for.
to pick up the other one, the Storm of Locusts.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And speaking of awesome, episode 2 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier dropped last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit got serious.
That was
And it started serious and it just continued.
Yeah. It
I
certainly didn't get
rewatched
any lighter.
both of them today.
so. Can I just make an observation that I think by episode 6 at the latest, we are all, and by all, we all, I mean America, is going to get the sternest talking to from Sam Wilson
Yes.
Mhm.
on how we've been treating Black Americans. Yo,
You think?
Like
yeah. It's
I
like
had
he's now let it slide twice. Like, oh no, this is, we're getting a talking to.
I
We
had
deserve it because that shit was really fucked up.
I had a feeling the series was eventually going to at least reference Isaiah Bradley. I didn't know they were going to just flat out show Isaiah Bradley.
Or that it was going to be Carl Lumbly.
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bean, do you want to do the quick?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not do synopses for this.
Well, that's fine. Let's just talk about like what the episode felt like. Then there's no, we can just jump into it.
The synopsis is Sam and Bucky finally get together in the show. They interact with the U.S. agent, I mean the new Captain America, and that
Right.
goes sideways. And then Bucky gets his ass handed to him by a girl.
Who's on
Next episode, Zemo.
Oh, and then there's
who was
there's
on who's on they're all on super soldier serum.
yes.
And old school Marvel fans might have caught when they mentioned the power broker. So it's definitely super soldier serum.
Yep. Which sounds like it's been taken from Isaiah Bradley.
Very likely, because they didn't seem as strong as Steve Rogers.
Nope.
Or Bucky, but still strong.
And that was the whole point of showing him. Also, sidebar, is the kid that was at Isaiah Bradley's, is that his grandson? And if so,
I think that is the low-key intro to Patriot, since they are doing Young Avengers. That's the kid who I think becomes Patriot.
They've been real subtle about all of this, because it's like, okay, we've had Wiccan and Speed, even though they've disappeared, and we know that America Chavez is coming up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yep.
Hawkeye, Kate Bishop has her own show coming up. So yeah, with Patriot, it's like, oh, you really are putting the band together.
Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so excited for Young Avengers. I loved that book so much.
That scene that they did in the trying to get the loan was so. Oh, that was so.
That was the first episode, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first episode, wasn't it? But man, that was awful. That was so frustrating. And then
Not far off from how shit is, though.
Denise, what were you going to say?
I really enjoy the way. Now I'm going to forget in New Captain America, that character. I really
Walker.
Thank you. Walker. I really enjoy the way that they they're doing a really good job of establishing this is a genuinely good dude. You know, he's not trying to get fame or accolades. He's just one of those genuine, wants to be a patriotic hero kind of guy, and he wants to help Bucky and Sam. But we're not supposed to like him. And that comes across really, really well. Okay, fine, we get it. You're a good dude, but nobody wants to like you, and nobody's going to like you, at least not for now.
I mean, he's kind of helpful, but the moment that they're like, no, dude, too soon, he gets...
That is true. They left it on a sour note at the end of episode 2.
Which, from his standpoint, he has a job to do, and he sees this as his job. And if they are not going to help him, then they are going to be a detriment.
Right.
If you look at it from his standpoint, his words make sense. I still don't like him. And I should be very clear. I don't like John Walker. I love Wyatt Russell. He's
great.
Fantastic.
He's great.
Oh man, is he good.
I think John Walker, his version of Cap this is the Cap you get that grew up under the shadow of 9/11, which is very much you're either with us or you're against us America mentality.
Which I have a massive problem with those people, and I am immediately
and he doesn't think he's making he doesn't think he's making the bad call.
Yeah. So I'm automatically you're a dick, I hate you.
And I just
does those things, and I hate those things.
He would have signed the Sokovia Accords.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's
not even a question. And I just hate seeing Captain America with a sidearm. I just don't put a gun in Captain America's hand. He uses a shield.
I mean, he had one for World War II, but then again, everyone was armed in World War II.
Yeah.
But Avengers Cap, nope.
No.
He's just the shield.
God.
No, for sure. He's not. He's never going to be as good and truly wholesome as Steve Rogers was. But I think he has good intentions.
Well, and I think that's a big difference too. Is Steve Rogers, wasn't a soldier. He signed up for the Super Serum program because he couldn't get into the military otherwise, and he wasn't he wasn't. And John Walker's this. I don't know. It seems like a career military dude, and is. I
mean, here's
there's a level of indoctrination that.
Oh yes.
That New Cap is steeped in, whereas that wasn't really the the attitude.
Yeah. You
Which-
could argue that didn't exist then.
Steve
Yeah.
Rogers questioned orders when
Yes.
they were wrong.
Yes,
And
he thought for himself and took a step back to look at all sides before moving forward. Frequently to the point where he would, get in trouble for it. This guy blindly follows orders. He does not. He thinks he is absolutely right.
Yep.
Everything on his side
He's
is
a company
absolutely
man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's exactly the words in my head, Denise.
Meanwhile, Steve Rogers was a good guy who did the right thing for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with that character, we're going to see a heel turn and then towards the end, back to a face turn.
I can see that.
And I think it's going to cost him his life. I mean, that's how one of the things that's going to end up happening.
Yeah.
He's going to have like that Vader moment at the very end kind of thing.
Mm.
See, and I think he's going to end up as I think he's officially going to end up as U.S. agent at the end, and I think we're going to get to see Sam take the mantle of Captain America,
Right. Maybe,
and see
yeah.
him
Ooh, that.
in the uniform that he's been wearing in the comics, which is the combination of his uniform and Cap's uniform.
That's
So
what I'm-
apparently there was a mistake and it got pulled fast, but an image, like a promo image, was dropped from like episode 5, and Sam's in that total hybrid Cap Falcon
Nice.
uniform. Yeah. They're like, oh shit, pull it.
Interesting.
I still like one of the strongest scenes in the episode was therapy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, it was so
Yeah.
the second that Bucky has the realization and says it out loud, that was the meat of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. That just sucker punched me, that because if
Yep.
you're not worthy, that means I wasn't worthy.
It's like, if he was wrong about you, then he was
Yeah.
wrong about me.
Yeah.
It still gives me chills.
Yeah.
It's-
Probably
Um,
the most real thing we've ever heard him say.
Well, this is the most I think we have ever heard Bucky say.
That's a good point.
Also that.
Yeah.
I'm also really, really invested in his relationship with that older man, with whose son he killed.
Yeah. That's not going to be heartbreaking when that
No.
when that all
I
goes down.
know. Oh God. But I'm very. What's like the sad, dreadful version of very much looking forward to something?
Emo?
I'm sure there's a German word
No,
for it.
there's
There probably is. Yeah.
Whatever
but
it is,
you're-
that's just
you're
my
antici-
personality.
you're anticipating it, maybe slightly uncomfortably anticipating it, but you're anticipating.
I do appreciate that the writers of this series are not afraid to basically lay the Marvel universe and in a way our universe's original sin so quickly right out on episode 2, and that is the unjustified testing of black men at the hands of the government.
Mhm.
Yep.
Isaiah Bradley is the only character it didn't kill or drive completely mad.
yeah.
Which is a direct correlation, inspiration. The story originally was clearly inspired by the Tuskegee experiment, the
Yep.
Tuskegee
Yeah.
Airmen.
Yep.
And you got to
I
think about
remember-
within Marvel itself, up until the era of like the MCU, of how we know like the Avengers, that 10-year era. I mean, it's pretty much established that since World War II, all the government and Stark Industries, like all they've really put a lot of focus into is perfecting that serum. So like, how innocent is Stark Industries? That was Banner's whole reason for, he was trying to perfect a version of the super soldier serum within the movies, not within the comics.
Right.
And
In the comics, in the movies, it all goes back to the super soldier serum.
yeah. And so like, how much of that are they going to finally make public? Like, what does that, it has to be said, it has to be made and brought into the light so that some kind of justice can be done.
Yeah.
But that means the hero that this entire world saved did so on the exploitation and murder of so many, black people that were experimented on first. And Isaiah Bradley is this ugly reminder that it's still out there. that the sin is still an open, is an open wound. And
yeah, but at the same time, like, they mentioned in that episode that, like, Bucky never told Steve. Like, Steve had no idea.
Nope.
And, like,
no, I know.
imagine-
And that's the thing. Like, Bucky is at that moment, Bucky is that one side of the argument that says, does it do any good to tell the most wholesome of all of you that your ability to do this is based on that?
Mm-hmm.
Bucky's making that choice for everyone, and this show and the writers are saying it's not Bucky's choice to make.
Yeah.
We get why he made it, but it wasn't his choice to make. And for not to say these shows can't be like heavy with a message, that's still kind of gutsy for a show that is airing on Disney.
Yeah.
To have him
More.
so
There's a
plainly-
swear word in episode 2.
That still throws me
He
off,
says
by the
shit.
way. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just to have it so plainly shown, like, his very clear horror and upset upon putting everything together with Isaiah, and just like, there were others you didn't like, nobody, like, that whole moment was like heart in my throat.
Which
Yeah, wait
led
till he tells
directly-
Rhodey.
Which leads, oh my God, yeah, Kayla,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that led directly into the cops
Mhm.
stopping them,
Right?
and
There's just
and,
no
like,
there's
right
no
into
letting
them
up.
being like, I'm sorry, is he bothering you, sir? And like, oh man, that whole scene was like, dude, they're Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh.
And then he's all like, "Oh, sorry."
Oh, sorry, Mr. Wilson. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
when you're watching that whole thing, it's like the two of them can take out everyone on this block.
All of them.
And
One of them can do it.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of them could.
Without
Both of
breaking
them.
a sweat.
Yes.
With one
And-
hand.
And Sam doesn't even have a suit with him,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he would still come out on top.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole moment was
Yeah, I remember when they cuff Bucky. I said out loud, I was like, "Oh, that's cute."
Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's
clearly
it's
letting
just
he's
for
let-
show.
Yeah. Right.
and it's like they kind of knew that they were doing that. Like, they cuffed him to the front because what's the fucking point?
Mhm.
If he was actually, he's going because he's agreed to go, and that's the only reason.
Right.
I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, he was obviously complying. It's the only reason it was happening, but just the cuffing part.
Yeah, you could see the body language of the cop sort of sheepishly cuffing him. Like, I know that this little piece of stainless steel isn't really going to do anything, but I have, like, this is protocol. But here, at least I'll put it in the front. Like,
Mhm.
whatever.
Yeah.
Against
'Cause when you get
Wakandan
taken in,
vibranium?
it goes in the back. Back. They didn't even bother with that. And you could tell just oh, well, thanks for coming along.
This is just for show.
Yeah.
It occurs to me that, I mean, Sam is an American citizen who, he was only gone from his normal life for 5 years, but so were a lot of other people. So it's, a highly relatable situation where it's still, you still have a home to come back to. Bucky, much like Cap, had a really big window of time where he was a non-person in his home place, and even now it's just not the same. Like, no one he knew from his former life is still alive. He doesn't really fit into our culture as it currently exists.
Yeah.
And he has somewhere else that he could have been, because he had that time at Wakanda that he seems to have really positive feelings about. And my question is, why would he come back to this when he could have just gone back to Wakanda after it was all said and done?
Because they don't want him there.
If he had stayed in Wakanda, he would have continued to be a wanted fugitive.
But he's been pardoned.
Yeah, but
And
part of the pardon was doing all of this.
Yeah, he's on parole.
Therapy, and it's parole. He can't leave the.
And I also think part
You
of
could do a
Wakanda now is
conditional release in another country, couldn't you? I mean,
Not as an
well,
American citizen.
right. And I also can see like
sent him on the way.
when he's in Wakanda, like they help heal him mentally and physically to an extent. They actually start calling what they call him the White Wolf.
Yeah, he
mhm.
mentions that in the second
I could
episode.
almost imagine there's a period between, whatever the blip or everyone coming back
Mhm.
after Endgame, where Bucky kind of wants to think about going back to Wakanda, and he and T'Challa have a chat. T'Challa's like, "You healed all you could in my home. If
Get
you
out."
stay, no, if you stay, you will just be in seclusion."
I suppose.
That's very much a thing T'Challa would say. Like, my friend, if you need to grow and heal, now is when you have to leave. You've done all you can in my home, kind of thing.
We have made sure that you are alive. Now you must go live.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Also, the thing I forgot that's different from Isaiah Bradley in the comics is that when he's caught again after Korea, he's still experimented on by Hydra for 30 years
Oh.
because SHIELD was Hydra.
Yeah.
So he's got
Right.
other things that have happened to him that they haven't even touched on yet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And also he's the reason why Winter Soldier has a vibranium arm.
Mhm. Was it?
Oh, I
T'Challa
didn't
was the
s-
reason he has a vibranium.
No, because Winter Soldier has a vibranium arm in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
So it's stolen vibranium.
Oh,
No,
I
but
didn't think that was vibranium.
So when his
think it
arm
is.
was tore off by Isaiah, it was still a metal arm, right?
I don't
Or
think
was
so,
it-
because Isaiah has that line that says, "I just wanted to see if they grew your arm back."
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
So you're saying Isaiah is the reason he doesn't have a human arm and has a
Well, no, he loses.
He lost the arm in the fall
Right.
when
I
Hydra
don't think-
found.
Yeah, I don't think he had vibranium during the Korean War.
No, I don't think the arm that he has in Winter Soldier is vibranium either. I think this is the
Okay.
first time I think Wakanda gave him the vibranium arm.
well then what was it before in Winter
Well, no,
Soldier
no,
and
because-
all that
because
Good
other
Russian
Vibranium.
steel.
No, because in Civil War, Spider-Man comments on it when they're fighting. I think he says, "Whoa, is that vibranium?" Or maybe he just says, "Whoa, is that a metal arm?"
He's
I
like,
can't
"Do
remember.
you have a metal arm?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
That's
Because-
so cool.
Because they break it again, like the fight between Stark and Bucky and Steve.
Oh, it breaks again, huh?
Yeah, they break his arm again.
Okay,
The shield, on the other hand, doesn't break.
right.
I could have sworn
That's
it was always vibranium, but
No, I think Cable's right.
Well,
it
when
probably,
he-
it
when he
probably
fights-
happened in Wakanda.
When he
Mhm.
fights Black Panther, there was like a reaction between his arm and Black Panther. I remember seeing something that it was like a weird shudder in his arm that made me think, "Oh, it's vibranium," and that's how.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I should
anyway.
totally be able to answer this. I just watched all of them.
I like how Norm just commented about the line where Sam says, "What? You've been slinking around Wakanda? So what do you think you are, White Panther?" And he's like, "White Wolf." What?
Actually,
Nothing.
never mind. I also
Old
enjoyed
that line.
that little throwaway with sorcerers and wizards and how Bucky
Oh,
read
good.
The Hobbit back in 1937.
And it was written.
a sweet moment.
That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorcerers or wizards without hats.
I just
Think about it.
Aliens, androids, or sorcerers, wizards.
and I loved like Bucky's like, "That's not a thing," and then the first thing that John Walker asks when they're all together is, "You think it's one of the big three?" So So that was there was some good humor in it. They're doing a really good job, I think, of making this very much like a drama and serious, but not completely losing the whimsy of a Marvel story. Of that comic book whimsy of
and I like that it's so very different from WandaVision. I love that
Yes.
every series has a different feel to it.
Yeah.
Me
I think
too.
the only thing that it shares in common with WandaVision, and which I think is very important, is it is people dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
And if there is any sort of connective tissue that we all have right now, it is dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
So I think it feels like a very conscious choice. And it is, I think, one of the main reasons why everyone is connecting so viscerally with these shows right now.
Yeah. The real question, do you think we'll eventually get Werewolf Captain America?
No.
Fingers crossed. Fingers
Who
crossed.
knows?
Well,
Just a Halloween miniseries special.
Here's my guess. We will see it in the Multiverse of Madness. It might be a hidden away thing, but gosh, if there's anywhere to put Werewolf Captain America, it's in the Multiverse of Madness.
That's true.
It'll be in the What If series.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot that was coming out. Yeah.
Also might be where we get Frog Thor.
And it's where we're getting Marvel Zombies.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
And Aaron's was just perfectly together.
Yeah.
They harmonized.
Yeah, that's all I can do it for. Yeah.
Oh man.
Frog Thor.
I know that following Winter Soldier, we get a break from Marvel for a bit.
Yeah. The Bad Batch.
Instead we get the Bad Batch. I saw the first
boy.
trailer for it today.
Yeah.
And I'm 100% on board with, well, I was already on board, but like they threw in a kid into the mix. And I'm like, oh, look at that. There it is. There's the Star Wars always has to be for children.
Yeah.
And because it's for kids. And
Right.
as long as there's a kid in the cast, it's like, yep, that's exactly what I needed to see.
Also that they also released the Obi-Wan Kenobi cast list.
Oh yeah.
That's a hell of a cast list.
Yeah, it is.
Man.
I'm looking forward to the redemption of Hayden Christensen.
I'm really curious
From
how
this
they're gonna. It's
series.
got to be flashbacks.
I think it's going to be both. I think it's going to be both flashbacks, and I think he's going to be Darth Vader.
I know.
Well,
I read a thing
mean, they
that said he will be Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Searching. It'll be the search.
Yeah, because they can't meet.
Nope. But he'll always just miss him.
He can still be in the show without them ever being together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's reprising his role as Darth Vader in Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And granted, there's not a whole lot of time, but there is a time span when Darth Vader doesn't have his robot body.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the longest time period. It's maybe a day, but you know, there is that time period.
What could happen in a day?
A lot can happen in a day.
What I don't need is an extended scene of Darth Vader killing younglings. I'm really not. I don't think they're going to go that route. So
I don't think so either.
Have they outlined where in the timeline this series is going to land? Is it like immediately after Darth Vader comes into existence? Is it?
It's just sometime between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see, that like little window of time that is Old Man Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
What was that from? That was like a one-off in the Star Wars core comic book a couple years ago, right? Or was it its own separate title?
Oh, in the Star Wars comic, I think it was like a 2-issue little tiny arc. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it had all his journal entries and stuff while he's interacting with the Sand People and keeping an eye on Luke.
Luke's reading his journal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I think it was called like Kenobi Stands Alone. I think it was something like that. And I kind of want him to still wear a little bit of clone trooper armor, just as like, I don't know, I think it'd be cool looking. Mainly, I just like it because I saw the Sideshow Collectibles figure that shows like Kenobi 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, the way they did him up, and it looks pretty righteous.
Cool.
I mean, the good thing is that means we get to hear more Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. He was just fantastic.
Oh, there's a new something. Star Wars from the Journals of Obi-Wan Kenobi, trade paperback. Oh, maybe this is
That might be the arc.
this
Yeah.
is it. It's
Okay.
It was published just this past October, but it includes the Star Wars from 2015 issues 7, 15, 20, and then 26 through 30. That's a lot more than I remember.
Also, fucking Kumail Nanjiani, he's having a hell of a year. He gets to be in a Marvel and a Star Wars.
Yeah.
And
Outta here.
Sun Kang.
Yeah.
Sun Kang is in it. That's gonna be great. Oh, I've forgotten her last name. Indira, I think is her first name.
She's from Game of Thrones, wasn't she?
She's
Uh-huh.
from Game of Thrones. She's from Rome. She's from Doctor Who. She's been all over the place. I love it when she gets work. She usually gets killed in shows a lot, which is unfortunate. She's the that opposite side of the coin to Sean Bean.
She's
This
Sean
recognizable
Bean.
English person that gets killed in movies all the time.
I just realized O'Shea Jackson Jr. is on the cast list.
Mhm.
Varma.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
What was that?
Indra Varma.
Varma. Yes, she is fantastic.
And I
Mhm.
believe
She's good.
one of the characters that we're getting in this is the Mandalorian woman that Kenobi had an affair with. What's her name?
Are you talking about
The Duchess?
Yes.
Mhm.
Satine?
I think Satine is supposed to make an appearance, which means there are flashbacks, which would give credence to young Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
Is that the sniper in The Mandalorian? Is that who you're talking about? Because I thought I
No.
saw.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about she's the character that, what is Katie Sackhoff's character's name? Bo-Katan. It's Bo-Katan's sister.
Oh,
Satine.
okay.
Older sister.
Older
The-
sister.
the-
And
then
she was the Duchess of Mandalore until she was killed.
Yeah.
Got it.
But before she was the Duchess, Obi-Wan was assigned to protect her. And they fell in love and had a budding but unfulfilled romance.
Let's see.
Sure it was unfulfilled.
Oh.
Like nothing actually
screen.
got to happen. No,
On screen.
definitely nothing happened on screen. But I mean, when they talk about, the events predating the Clone Wars when they knew each other, it doesn't sound like anything ever really came into fruition. Or maybe I'm remembering wrong. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite arcs, though. I
Mhm.
really liked her character and their relationship.
Hmm.
It was good.
Yeah. I'm super jazzed for it. I think it's going to
Mhm.
be great.
Excited.
Ooh, I think we should wrap up the show this week. That sounds pretty solid. I'm going to go pass
agree.
out.
Yeah, rest up.
Yeah. That first injection's hitting me hard.
Drink
I'm
lots of
hoping that
water.
means my second won't be as bad.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
never heard
hopefully.
of anyone having a bad reaction on the first one.
I have, but not as extreme. Not as many, though, for sure.
Drink water.
Lots of
Oh,
water.
yeah. I've been drinking a lot of water.
Okay.
Yeah. Apparently a whole lot of it is just based around dehydrating. So
Yeah, no,
Yep.
it feels like it.
Mm,
yeah.
There's mine.
Yay!
I don't have a Band-Aid anymore.
My second
hope
one's at
not.
the end of my second one's at the end of April.
The 12th. My next one's on the 12th.
Mine's on 420.
Ah, yeah, mine's like 429. Like it's a pretty far out one for me.
Poke
don't
him
know
if you
why.
got him.
Okay.
Huh?
I said poke him if
Oh.
you got him.
I got to go back out to Hillsboro, but that's okay.
Crazy.
A small price to pay.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I'm Aaron Duran,
I'm being Rita.
And I'm Cable Hashitani.
and we will talk to everybody next week. Wear your masks. Seriously, wear your freaking masks.